What's up guys, Paradox here, and welcome back to another edition of Ask a Paradox. Episode number 11. So I can already hear you guys saying, oh my gosh, this man injured himself again. No, luckily I didn't. I'm actually recovering from a 2.5 year lasting injury. As some of you know, I was diagnosed with a chronic injury that I have been having for 2.5 years now, and because of this I was not able to shoot any dance videos, or at least not a lot of them. But finally, after a very long and tough 2.5 years, they were able to find the problem, the situation, and diagnosed that I had a piece of bone stuck in my ankle. I don't know if you can see it if I put it up to the camera like this. Can you? Whatever. So they gave me 2 months ago they found this bone, and about 3 weeks ago they did the surgery and removed the bone from my ankle, as well as some other things. So now I'm well on my way in recovering from this injury, finally. However, it's gonna take me about 4 months to heal completely, and to protect myself, I keep in mind that it's possible that because of this being there for 2.5 years, it might have done some damage, meaning I might not be 100%. Of course, I'm fighting for the 100, and I'm doing the best I can to rehabilitate, to recover properly. But, you know, just keeping in mind that everything is possible, and whatever happens, I'm gonna make myself go forward, and whatever position I'm gonna be in these 4 months or after these 4 months, I'm gonna keep fighting, and I'm gonna find a way to express myself always. With that said, the topic of this Ask a Paradox is a very personal one, because it's about how to deal with injuries or setbacks, which is something that I've been doing for the past 2.5 years. These are actually questions that have been asked me, that you have asked me for many times before, and I was kind of evading them because I was still dealing with it myself, right? You asked me advice about how to deal with setbacks, how to stay motivated, or even how to deal with your injury, you know, how to stay motivated in that situation. And though I really wanted to help you guys, I first had to help myself and really figure out where I was standing. In these 2.5 years, I've faced a lot of disappointment, anger, fear, doubt, misunderstanding. It was confusion, right? So I was not able to give you guys advice while I was still fighting the fight myself. However, in these 2.5 years, I've learned a lot about myself, about me as a person, about the injury, and actually saw myself healing in different places than just the injury. The injury helped me to heal somewhere else, and I think I finally am ready to talk about it and to at least give you some of the things, the ideas that helped me to get to the next place, and that helped me to put myself in a position where I started not to feel comfortable, of course not, but feel okay with it, and was able to find out a way to express myself, to be myself, to be happy with my life inside of this situation. And hopefully with the topics that I'm going to talk about, I can help you guys as well with setbacks, with whatever position you're in right now, may it be an injury or something else. Hopefully this helps you guys and gives you guys, I guess, some inspiration. So yeah, let's get started. So let's talk about how I overcame the first phase, which is the negative emotion, the anger, the fear, the sadness, because it's really important to get over this in order to continue, in order to go beyond, right? Of course you can feel angry, pissed, sad, confused. You have to express these emotions. That's really important, because if you're gonna, you know, stash it away, if you're gonna hide those emotions from yourself, you're not able to move on. You're stashing the energy inside of yourself, but you have to let the energy go in order to get new energy in that's gonna help you to move on. So you're gonna have to get over those emotions instead of trying to hide them. But first week, first whatever, it's okay. It's okay that you're sitting on the couch watching TV the whole time. It's okay that you're eating eating a lot because you try to find a way to get these emotions out of there. It's okay that you stagnate in the first part. However, it's really important that you are aware of that it's happening. That's really important, because when you are aware of it, you watch yourself do it, right? First day you're doing it and you're like, okay, whatever, man, I just gotta get this off my chest, right? Second day you're doing it again. Then after a certain time, you're like, okay, I'm done with this, man. I've done this for 4 or 5 days. I'm over it. And what's gonna happen is you get an energy and you wanna push forward, right? But in order to do that, you have to see yourself in that moment. You have to see that it is happening, and you have to say, it's okay for now. I accept the situation I am in. And that's the hardest part, because denying the emotion is also denying and not accepting the situation. If you don't accept where you are, you will never be able to go somewhere else. If you act like it's not there, you cannot move forward. And you need that new energy to push forward and to find a way to express yourself in a new way. And everyone at its own time. Everyone at its own time. This is your process. This is your progress, right? For one, this may take a very long time. Maybe you have an injury that is way more difficult to handle than I have, or another type of situation, not even an injury, something, right? Or something that is less difficult to deal with. It's your time. There's not a specific time you have to take to overcome this situation, as long as you make that. So after we've expressed this emotion, after we have, stepped over, of course, you're always gonna feel it, by the way. You're always gonna feel it in the back of your neck. The sadness, the fear. Of course, it's gonna be there, but it's about learning to deal with it instead of letting it overcome you, right? Instead of letting it control you, you have to find a way and figure a way out to move around it and still use your life in a very productive, or in a way that makes you happy. That you owe it to yourself to be happy. And that's actually a very important lesson that I learned. That my ankle is a part of me, but it is not me. If just my ankle, my situation there, influenced the rest of my capabilities, my arms are free, my body is free, my mind is free, my speech is free. I can do other things with my life, right? And to sit around not doing anything because I'm so sad makes the injury not just the injury of the ankle, but an injury of the whole body, the mind, the spirit. And that is the dangerous part, and actually the most difficult part to overcome. It's not this injury here. If it is a chronic injury, it's not gonna heal, so that means that I have to move on. But the healing that I can do is in the rest of my body and in my mind. My mind is damaged and sad, so I have to go over this process and accept it. And in the acceptance, as well as the other phases that you go through, there's gonna be a healing inside of the mind and inside of the rest of the body and in your spirit. Which brings me to the second phase of myself and the second lesson that I learned, and that is learning to move around your situation. When I was tired of sitting down and not doing anything and feeling sorry for myself, I decided that I have to find a way to still utilize my life, right? I have these talents, I have these skills, and I love these kind of things. How can I add them together in another mixture and produce something new? Now, of course, that works different for everybody, and that works in whatever timing you have, right? The basic principle that I learned from this is that humans can adapt extremely well if they let it, right? If they let it happen. We can adapt to the craziest things. We can adapt to relatives passing away. When my grandmother passed away, I thought I would not be able to go on. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna be sad for the rest of my life. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be sad for the rest of my life. But I learned to grow because of the pain, and I learned to move on and find a way to use her energy in my life to continue, right? So I adapted, and that was a very important lesson for me, because that made me understand that adapting to the situation is very important to let happen. And whatever situation you are in, you can always adapt. You can believe that you can always adapt. It's gonna be tough, really hard, really painful. But as long as you adapt, at a certain point, you're gonna be able to find back that happiness into your life. And I myself was able to adapt to my ankle. Because of my ankle, because of this defect, right? I was able to flourish in other parts. Because this was only at 10%, this here had to work for 190% to even it out. So little background story. I created Planet Paradox. Planet Paradox is a tour as well as a clothing line that I got. I'm still working on it, so you didn't see much of it. But the tour I've already done in Europe. I've done a complete tour with where I teach 5-hour classes and take the time to also have an hour of live Ask a Paradox where I talk to people, and found a way to express myself in a very new way, which made me very happy and proud of myself. So because of having an injury here, I had to figure out another way to express myself and figuring out another way to to utilize my talents, my abilities, which is knowledge dance for me, knowledge dance, helping people and trying to change the status quo of dance and trying to find a way to let the dance flourish. And I was able to mix it up because of this injury. Without this, I might have waited maybe 5 more years to even do a tour like this, you know what I mean? So it actually helped me to find a new way and to reinvent myself. And that's what it's all about. Number 2 is to adapt, right? To figure yourself out, find a way around your ankle, and reinvent yourself. And as you start doing that, your passion comes back. And the passion is the most important thing, because the passion is what heals you inside for real. And that's what started healing me as well. Another situation that I was facing was that as I used my other body parts to dance, so as I still tried to do what I wanted to do with my life, but actually in a different way, or let's say restricted, I felt not good enough. I felt super whack. And I had the fear of kind of, you could say, messing up my name, but let's say staining my legacy, and not in the way of, oh, I want to be seen as this and that, but more of a, this is not who I am and this is not how good I actually can be. So it sucks to dance and express myself in a way that is not representative of what I've been practicing for 18 years, 19 now. And actually, it was only 4 months ago that I was able to overcome this feeling and overcome this situation. As I started dancing more, because they told me it was a chronic injury. Chronic means forever, so I'm just gonna do what I gotta do. I always underperformed of what I hoped I would do every time. And I was sad and pissed and felt insecure about what was happening, And at a certain point, I had a conversation when I was at an event and again did a judge demo, and I said, man, it was terrible. It was really bad. It sucked. And he was like, no, I actually liked it. I all of a sudden figured out that I had to re-humble myself and act like I was the same person when I started all the way in the beginning, when I was trash, which was difficult, but it made me realize that flaws are so important to help you to continue, because a flaw helps you to see where you shouldn't be or shouldn't be. A flaw helps you to grow, right? Oh, this is not really what I want, so now I know where I gotta go to figure something out and to build, you know what I mean? And when I remembered this, when I remembered the basic concept of, okay, build up step by step, instead of saying, I wanna be here while my body is here, which creates a disconnection between yourself and your physique, right? Which creates even a disconnection between you in this moment with yourself, because your mind is somewhere where you are not now. Relearning that I was able, that it was okay for me to love myself and give myself the chance to take one step at a time helped me so much, because of this, at a certain point, not completely, but at a certain point, a lot of the fear and the anger, especially the disappointment, started to wash away. It started to wash away, and I said, whatever happens in this moment, that's what happens. This is what I'm doing right now, and it's okay. I can look back at it and change whatever I can, but it doesn't make sense for me to look back at it and talk shit about a moment that I can't change. Okay, learn from it, move on to the next one. And there's one thing that, there's one saying that I've thought of, that I remembered, that really struck with me. And hopefully it's gonna help you guys as well. And it sounds weird because it's not a real saying. I just thought of it myself, and it's this: a broken vase can still carry some gold. Which means even if a pot is broken, old and dusty, the vessel can still carry gold inside of it, even if it's just a little, and carry it around. And that gold can still be inside of you as well. Even with a broken vessel, with a broken body, with a broken mind, with a broken heart, you're able to carry out and carry with you in this vessel some gold. And whatever that is, of course, that is yours to find out. So after overcoming this doubt, I regained a new understanding of my situation, of my relationship between my ankle. And I started to understand that my ankle was actually teaching me values, was teaching me different things about myself, my weaknesses, my strengths, but not my weaknesses of my ankle, my weaknesses of my personality, of my mindset, of my whatever, right? And yeah, that's really scary. When your setback reveals yourself in a different light and shows you pieces of yourself that you didn't know of yet, or that you were hiding, the fear, the doubt, or sometimes the laziness, right? As it reveals those parts, or sometimes even strength, because it reveals more. It reveals your strength sometimes. It reveals your sturdiness, right? To continue and always keep going. It reveals a lot. And as it reveals this, you have an opportunity. You have an amazing chance to change other parts of your life and heal yourself in different parts, so that if ever you heal down there, if ever you heal in whatever setback you are in, if you get over it, you get over it with a 200% instead of coming back to your 70% that you were before. So as I gained this relationship with my ankle, I was really thankful, which is weird. I was thankful not because of the injury, but I was thankful that I was able to adapt to the situation, and I was able to learn very important lessons as I was going along. But it took a very long time. It took me 1.5 years to get to that point. So now I am in my last phase, which is recovery, which again brings a lot of doubt and fear. Because what if I don't heal? What if I don't recover properly? What if I don't come back 100%? Which we talked about already, but this one is different, like physically. What if I physically still can't do it? That's gonna suck a lot, right? And though I have put my mindset on that, like, okay, whatever happens, I'm gonna adapt and find a way to move around and reinvent myself every time. You really want it to be perfect, and you really want it to come back, right? So it's kind of, on the one hand, sort of exciting, but on the other hand, also very scary, you know? And as I was going through this, again, I had a lot of doubt, a lot of really rough days where this surgery hurts, where this surgery makes me not being able to do something and almost feel sorry for myself. Like, oh man, I'm so sad. I'm so, it's so sad for me that I'm in this situation. I can't even walk without crutches. Man, first days I couldn't walk, man, right? And every day I was asking myself, ooh, what am I feeling right now? Is this okay? What is happening right now? Is this fine? Oh my God, I hope. My mind was not at ease for me to heal. The first few days, by the way, I felt amazing, because I felt like, yes, I'm finally making progress. There's finally change in my life. But then, of course, the doubt kicks in and the pain kicks in. So, man, I hope this is gonna go well. And literally 3 days ago, I learned a new lesson. When I was younger and when I started out dancing, I knew 100% for sure that I was gonna get to where I am today, higher, right? Not because I was cocky, but because I felt like I was using my life the right way, and there was a silver lining in my life that was guiding me, and it felt like anything that I did, even if it was whack, it was with purpose. Meaning, I was I don't know what word I should put there, but I was putting the situations, the happenings, the things that I was doing in order, and I knew that it was gonna go and bring me to somewhere. I failed here, but I can place it right here. This failure means this and that and gave me that. I learned this from that, so that's a building, a stepping stone. And I kept doing that. But actually before my injury, I lost that guidance. I lost that feeling, that sense of being in tune with something. And I didn't know if I was going into the right direction. It didn't feel like I was doing something with purpose. I knew I was doing something good, but it didn't feel like I was actually leading up to something bigger. And that feeling of not knowing where I'm going, the same feeling I have been feeling with my ankle every day. I don't know if it's gonna be fine. I don't know if I'm gonna be 100% back. I was feeling the exact same thing. And then all of a sudden, it struck me. It struck me that I had to accept my situation. It always comes back to that. And that I had to believe in that if I adapt properly and choose to go for something 100%, choose for using my life 100%, even if my body is 75, that whatever dream that I have is going to happen. I came to the conclusion that I had to trust the process 100%. I had to trust the process of getting to where I was going. Trust it. Because doubt does not have an end result. Fear, yeah, they do. Stagnation. No continuing. No new thing. You stay in the same place, which is the same as going backwards, right? But trusting in the process helps you to open up. Open up to whatever can happen, right? And I'm not meaning that in a spiritual way. You could see it in a very spiritual way, and I actually do believe that it is connected to the spiritual realm, but you don't have to. It's a very simple concept. If I trust in the process, I make sure that at least my mind is open enough to make the right decisions to move forward. If I'm in doubt, in fear, in anger, we can know for sure that I'm not going to make the right decisions to move forward into a better place, but that I'm going to respond on a negative emotion. And again, all of a sudden I remembered a saying that I said when I was younger that is not a real saying, but I thought of myself, and it helped me actually and my mindset to stay motivated. And maybe the saying is going to help you. Maybe it's going to sound weird for you guys, but maybe it helps you too. And the saying goes like this. It's if there is a 10% chance of me succeeding, I'm going to go 100% for those 10. Which means I have a 100% chance of succeeding. Because if I go 100%, it's full circle. There's no chance that I'm not going to get that 10% chance. So even if I have the slightest chance, I'm going to give myself 100%. Right? And that thought of taking a 10% by 100% intensity made me believe that everything is possible. Because if I put myself in 100%, even if I get 1% chance, if I go for 100% for that 1%, I have the most of chance of possibility to make sure that it happens. And if it doesn't happen, I did everything that I could, and I cannot blame myself anymore for any situation I am in, and I have to continue. So that really, really helped me to regain strength and trust, because that is also one of the things. It's trust in the adaptation, trust in yourself, trust in that the emotions are okay, and then trust in the situation, in the things that you can't change, right? Just trust in that whatever happens, you're gonna find a way to get out of it 100%. If this is 5%, then the rest of it is gonna be 95. If I have only 2% possibility in my ankle, then I'm gonna take 98% in the rest of the body to still be at 100. And as long as you trust in yourself and trust not in just yourself, but in that it will be okay in that way, right? You will free yourself from the expectation of using yourself in the exact way that you want to. That sounds like gibberish. It means I want to dance and that's all I want to do. But if you trust yourself that you have more inside of you, all of a sudden you're free and you're able to expand more. And funny enough, that's what I did, and all of a sudden it came to me. And now I'm in a position where hopefully I'm gonna be healed again. So the last thing that I'm gonna say might sound way too spiritual and way spiritual, but I gotta say it because it's true to me and maybe it will help you guys. As you repeat something, the brain creates wires, right? Connections, because it notices that these are things that you want to keep in the body. So it lays down the connections to wire this memory, this sometimes muscle memory, but a memory of doing something over and over again. It can be good habits and bad habits. That's how habits are created. I believe that the universe can create those wires as well. Now, I am not saying in an actual physical way, and I'm also not saying that somewhere in another dimension the wires are being created. What I'm saying is this: as you wake up and do something productive, as you wake up and say something positive to yourself, as you do something with the right intention multiple times over and over again, in rehab, in going after your dreams, as you do it in the right way with the right mindset and the right feel, the positive feel behind it, it's gonna create a wire. First in yourself, right here, but then to me, also around here. And that's the wire that you're going to walk. And you can feel it. As you become more positive and you go and actually try to express yourself in a positive way and take your life day by day positively, you get into that zone where things go the right way, you know. But you have to be open for it, of course. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a very spiritual concept. It literally means do something over and over again, and it's gonna influence your day-by-day life. And as you do that, hopefully you're gonna find your way out of this situation, and you're gonna find your way out of this setback, just like I'm doing right now. I'm still not there, but I'm working on it, and you will too. So I'm just gonna sum up all the things that I just said in simple sentences so that you can write them down, rethink of them, figure out what you felt was necessary for your life, and things that you didn't care about you can take away. And with that, I'm going to finish this episode. So number 1, it's okay to feel sad. Accept your situation, accept your emotion, because if you don't accept where you are in this moment, there's no place to go. If you act like you're somewhere else, my emotion is acting like I'm there. I'm acting like I'm happy and I'm okay, but I'm not. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna subtract myself from where I am right now. And then because I am here, but where I'm actually is here, I am not able to influence my physical and my actual being, right? I'm not able to influence it and change it. So you have to be with yourself, accept in order to overcome. Number 2, your situation is not you, it is a part of you, right? Your situation should not influence the rest of your body, should not influence the rest of your senses, your capabilities. And that takes time. You have to go in and do it in phases. First accept and let it out. And then slowly you're gonna go into another phase, right? You don't have to force it. Make sure you don't force it. And as you understand that whatever you are facing is not you, you are able to accept and also learn to work around it, move around it, and reinvent yourself in a different way. Use your weaknesses as your strengths. And number 3, be aware of yourself as a person, how you respond to what is happening and how you can change that, because it will reveal certain things about yourself: laziness, anger, or perseverance, strength. It will reveal certain things of yourself that you can then work with and you can learn a lot from. So even though in a terrible situation, it's really important to be open to new lessons, to be open to continue and move on and talk to yourself, talk to your situation. And as you become open to relearn the things that you have maybe forgotten, your situation, your setback becomes an amazing teacher and helps you to not just come back, like I said, in the same state you were, but actually come back grown from who you were before. And then lastly, it's extremely important to, I'm not gonna say not fear the unknown, but to learn to accept what it is, because this is not just the situation of your setback, which can be an injury or anything. This is the situation of everyone's lives. You don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow and the day after and the day after. It is not given. So learning to deal with your setback and trust the process is gonna help you to not just trust the process of whatever situation you're in, but also trust the process of yourself as a person and as you go on in your life. So like I said, even though we are broken, even though my vessel is broken, it can still carry gold, and yours too. I can still carry something valuable in this broken vessel and create something for myself and for others. And 2, if I have a 10% chance of succeeding in life, I'm gonna go for it 100%, because that's gonna give me the most possibility of actually getting there. If I go 100% for only 10, there's 100% certainty, then I'm gonna make it happen. Trust the process and wire yourself. You know, of course, it takes time. And I'm saying this, and maybe you're in the exact state that I was before, where you did not want to hear the advice, which I really understand, and that's okay. And maybe this advice doesn't help you. I'm just giving you my perspective and the things that really helped me and the things that I've learned. I still have a lot to learn, and I am still oftenly confused about the situation, always. But I accepted that that is a part of the process, you know? And I believe that one way or another, I'm gonna find a way to get 100% out of this. And you guys will too. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for listening. I know it's been a long time since I did Ask a Paradox. But hopefully this one really helps you guys out. And thank you so much for all the great messages, for your concerns, for your positive energy, and for always actually being there for me in my situation right now. You know, hopefully in 4 months I'll see you guys on the dance floor again, and if not, I'll make sure that you'll see me somewhere, of course. So be on the lookout. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Paradox out.